Hi guys, Demonic Angel. This is just going to be a little video on kind of an add-on here to the Halloween story of 2020, where I talked about how I almost got into a really bad car accident. And one of my friends that I do the sigil drawing collaboration videos with, and he makes the music, he said, well, that would be really cool if you showed us the medal that was from your grandfather. And so here it is. Just briefly, it's that until 2 to 3 years ago, I did not I found out about the real story behind my grandfather. Basically, my grandmother was married, and she passed off my mom as basically what would be my step-grandfather's child, and the man who is my biological grandfather, he was around the family. He was the godfather of my mother. So they were all Catholic people, and I actually knew him really well. He lived to be in his 90s. So he also did serve extensively in World War II. He was involved with the D-Day landings. He was in the Army, and he was in France, Germany, Italy. He was pretty much there for, I think, almost, or he was in the war for about 4 years, because he got involved before the United States, officially did. So, it was just a real shock, I guess. But, that's kind of a whole separate story about how I found out and such. But, now I just, the way I have to look at it is I just have more people, more family to love, because, this is all integrated through my perspective. So I had honestly never saw that coming. It's just that we all looked a little bit different than some of the relatives, and I never thought too much into it. I look much more like my father. So, but it was, all this information was given to me through my sister, and she looks much more like my mother's side of the family in that kind of a way. So, with this medal, I kind of basically I stole this from my mom, but my reasoning is that she is a hoarder, and it's a really, I don't live with her. I have my own life. I was staying with her in between moving for a few weeks, and this was after I found out about my biological grandfather, and I said, well, this is just going to be lost in this stuff, and I'm going to take it and value it and treasure it and keep it well. So of course she's never noticed, and I might even box it or attach a necklace or something and give it back. It's just that I really felt that strong attraction, like I needed to have it. And my biological grandfather, he was adopted by an Irish-American couple in the 1920s. And he was left at a Catholic orphanage just right after he was born, and so he was raised Catholic. And this is a medal that he had with him all his life. So my mother would have been his only child. And so obviously he even left in his will about, admitting that he is our, father and grandfather. And along with that, now it explains why she has all of his personal possessions. A lot of them, table sets, a lot of Catholic items, not just this. But my mom, the reason, of course, I didn't think into it is because she is a hoarder, so she has a lot of people's stuff. She kept, all my grandmother's things, so it really didn't stand out to me. But because now I know that I have this personal connection, I have this, and I usually wear it on a gold, like a metal chain, but I want to kind of make a customized deal with it. And it's really special to me. Even though I usually like silver, just because of the personal story here, and it's just really strong for me. So on the day I almost had the car accident, I chose to wear this, and I don't, it's not so, not all the time. I probably might wear it 3 times a month or something. But, and this is because even though I'm an occultist, I still know a lot about Christianity and my relatives' beliefs, and so I still am interested in this kind of stuff. I was raised Catholic, but, this says 1830. Now they make a lot of these, and it's called the Miraculous medal by the Catholic Church. So they make these. They make them in silver. They make them in different carats of silver and gold. So you can kind of pick what you want. And this is the Virgin Mary, the Mother of Jesus. The halo is kind of like basically it's like the aura, her aura around her head. Being that she is virgin, without sin, she ascended into heaven, right? Like that kind of idea of specialness, that she exudes this quality of energy, and these, we've got the rays coming off of her robes, and it's just meant to kind of point out that specialness. Now it says on here, "O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee." And then it has a little star here on the bottom. And once again, this was in his this was given to him by the people who adopted him. So this is old. It's actually kind of heavy, and it's got, if you can kind of see, it's got some of the glossed, kind of like right here around her cape. It's kind of polished. So this might now, as far as 1830, what does this mean? There was a woman in Paris called Saint Catherine. So she's recognized by the Catholic Church as a saint. And she is, she supposedly had a series of visions, and she talked to her priest, talking about how she was instructed by the spirit of, Mary to make these medallions to help people solidify their faith. And, back in this was in 1830. That's why it's 1830, because that was when St. Catherine had these visions. And the Catholic Church really, the priest took it, through different channels. They really liked that idea of giving people a sort of symbol here of hope and a connection, because in Catholicism, there's saints, even though they're not officially, they don't call it paganism, there's medallions and all kinds of things that really are more like the same ideas of idol worshiping, except they're not supposed to see it that way, but they do pray to Mary, Jesus, and everything. So it is, when we strip it down from the Christianity terms, it's basically a lucky charm. So here on the back, the 12 stars here represent the 12 apostles. And, the M stands for Mary, and the cross is for Jesus. Now, the one heart that has the thorns and the cross, that represents Jesus' love and sacrifice, by coming here and incarnating and choosing to die for people's sins. Then it's about that suffering of brotherhood for us. And the other heart here is Mary, and it's kind of got those those branches on it. It's kind of signifying this feminine quality to it, and of course she is Jesus' mother. She does really kind of remind me of the high priest on tarot. And then here in the in the back, it's 12 karat gold. That's what that 12 kg means. So I do know that this has to be it has to be considerably old enough that my biological grandfather, he was born 100 years ago. And so this has to be something like, at the very least, 80 years old. It's probably not an original one. I've seen some of the original ones that are kind of bigger, and they have more of a different look around the edges that is like in a Victorian style, where they have the edges kind of come out, and that's really neat looking. But so I put my, when I cleanse this, I purify it, and I put my intentions and thoughts about what what my grandfather, my biological grandfather, represents to me. That I never stop reading. When he told me there's always the answers in the library, and I never have. So now that's this part of me that, it's like a part of me that I found. It's like, it's weird. I've kind of felt this different way since I've known. Like, now I know where 25% of me comes from, and I can kind of put the pieces together, and I can also put that whole story and put basically my step-grandfather into this place, and I can have this love for everybody. But also what my biological grandfather represents is that I did have a paranormal experience with him. And he was, even though he was Catholic, he was a spiritualist, so he liked to go to cemeteries and basically try to communicate with the dead. And this had to do with people who he lost in the war, in World War II. And he just kind of put those two beliefs together, Catholicism and spiritualism. And that I believe that part of what is going on for me and my psychic abilities is hereditary, and part of it is passed down from him. And I just acknowledge that this is a part of me. So when I have this metal, it makes me feel kind of safe. Makes me feel like a masculine energy protecting me. And I do think that my grandfather pops in from time to time, and I can feel his presence, if you want to put it that way. He just kind of, unlike some of my other spirit guides, he kind of comes and goes, because he's, you know, he's not bound here anymore. So yeah, anyway, I guess that's pretty much my story with this. So yeah, even though that they don't, the Catholic Church says, oh, this is not a lucky charm, it's not magic. They specifically say magic. All kinds of people send them stories about how it protected them from a robbery, or serving in the line of duty, or recovered from cancer. So this is really, I mean, people, when we look at it, it really is magic. It really is putting your beliefs, your hopes, your dreams into a certain talisman, so that you can have a physical object to, kind of represent these abstract ideas, so they're not so abstract. They're real here, and a little thing for us. I'm going to put a link in the description below, and it's from the Catholic Church about this metal here, and you can read it, and it's real informative. I'll just talk to you guys later.